Live from New York, this is the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey, and as always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. How you doing? We went golfing over the weekend. I shot poorly. Yeah, we each played pretty poorly. We're not great golfers, but
we had fun though.
It's fun to play some golf every now and then. So good to get out. But we do have a big show. We're going to talk about Anthony Davis. We're going to get to that Jameis Winston topic that we talked about on Friday. So how about we jump right into it? So about 20 minutes before we started the show on Friday, Anthony Davis signed a massive extension, which turned out to be the highest annual extension contract in NBA history, about $62 million on average annually per year. Now, Anthony Davis, as we know, has dealt with, injury issues. In his career, he's played about 59%, at least with the Lakers, he's played about 59% of the games each season on average. And so injuries, at least as of late, have been sort of his issue with the Lakers. And actually, sort of at the beginning and middle of this NBA offseason, there was a report out saying the Lakers are a little bit hesitant on potentially giving him this extension, but then they come out and pull out a massive and record-breaking extension. Yeah, so
first day it was an opportunity to do it. They signed him to it.
Yeah, so here we go. He's with them for 3 more years. So I want to know: did the Lakers make the right move in extending Anthony Davis?
I think so, actually. I thought quite a bit about this, and I do think he's had some injury problems. He's not getting any younger. He's 30 years old now. He's going to be with them for 5 years now, right?
Yeah.
And he could have gotten out of this deal, his current deal, at the end of this coming season. So he could have walked, and they potentially couldn't have gotten anything for him. So I think, the number of big guys like him that are really good is pretty scarce. There aren't that many. He can play at the highest level. We've seen it, right? Whether he can stay healthy or not is the concern. I think that over the course of this whole contract, the 5 years, he's due $270.5 million.
It's a lot of money.
So, but that's less than a Supermax, right? And it's the same length, right? A Supermax is a 5-year deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not sure. Is all of it guaranteed? All of the money, all the way through? If it's $270 million for 5 years, isn't that less?
Well,
than
his contract activates. Well, he's currently still on his previous contract, so his contract actually this extension, this massive extension, starts when he turns 32 in the 2025-2026 NBA season. So he's got a couple years before this kicks in.
$86 million left on his current contract.
Yeah.
So 186 and 86, right?
That's what, 260.
12. That's
186 and
270.
Well, yeah, I'm
276.
Yeah, okay.
272.
Okay.
272. So I'm right. It's like 270.5, they say. That's what I heard. So over 5 years, that's less than $60 million, right? 25, $54 million a year on average for the 5-year period. So that looks like
if including his old contract,
that's looking like a pretty good deal. Only $54 million.
Well, I mean, no. The big thing here is the extension here,
right? But if you got to look at it over the whole 5 years, now he's locked up for 5 years. So.
I'm not worried. I guarantee. No, there was probably no shot he was going to leave after this or next year in his previous. No, not a chance. Because I'm sure he would have made a lot of money, but the Lakers probably could have given him more. My major concern is how many games will he play? You talk about that 5-year period. There's 410 potential games he could play. If somehow he plays all 82, 410 games is basically how much he'll play. And so the quick math would be it's 59.1%. That's the average amount of a season that Anthony Davis plays. So you do 51.9% of 410. So based on just statistics alone, you could say Anthony Davis plays 242 more games. In reality, which I think, we have to look at here, Anthony Davis, as of late, since the bubble year was his healthiest year in a very, very long time. But we're talking about, he played 36 games after the bubble. 36 games, 40 games, and 54 games. He played in 56, but started in 54. So my guess would be he's not going to all of a sudden turn the trend back on its head and go from 60-something.
He's been playing center all this time, and he doesn't like playing center all the time. He wants some relief, so they brought in Jackson Hayes, whoever he is, to help ease his workload. So he's happy about that. So maybe that will help keep him healthy. He's not playing center all the time.
I guarantee you. No, the problem with Anthony Davis is he likes he believes he's a shooter, so he hangs out at the 3-point line all the time. That's not his role, though. He's a big guy. He needs to get rebounds. That's his primary job. He got 12.5 rebounds this year, and throughout the playoffs, he was easily their second best option, and it wasn't even close. Austin Reeves put in decent amount of minutes, and he was very, very efficient. I think he earned a starting job this upcoming season. Rui Hachimura was a good pickup. Malik Beasley disappeared. I thought he would have been a good piece, at least defensively. Completely disappeared. And now we're talking about, was it 39-year-old LeBron James? I really think this was more so to keep LeBron James here because Bronny James is going to get drafted next year after his 1 year with USC. And I really think LeBron may actually, we'll have to wait and see who drafts him, but LeBron may leave if Bronny gets signed to any or drafted by any other team other than the Lakers. Now, this actually sets up Anthony Davis to at least contractually take over the reins, which is what LeBron came there to do. Take over the Lakers, then get AD, then hand him the baton and say, this is now your franchise. And that just didn't happen because AD couldn't stay healthy. He had stretches where he just didn't play all that great. And when he was healthy, though, relatively, he was pretty good. Like in this playoff series, there were moments early on where he completely disappeared. But in the Nuggets series, he was good. Against the Warriors, he was good because guess what? The thing with the Warriors is the Warriors were a very, very small team. So Anthony Davis was supposed to be the guy to dominate on that side, and he did, something that Sabonis couldn't do. Looney was basically rendered useless, in a large part defensively. And so, Anthony Davis did his job. I'm more concerned about the amount of games he's going to play. Is the contract going to be worth it? You're making the most annually off an extension in NBA history. Is it going to be worth it? If you're going to play 59% of the games, are those 59% of the games going to be crucial games late in the year and during the playoffs? Or are you going to be playing, the first 59%, starting, about 30, 40 games, go halfway through the year, and then just pieces the rest of the way?
I don't know. He's been there for the playoff runs every year, right?
Yeah, no, that's the big thing. He needs to show up when it matters.
Yeah.
And he's a physical guy. The problem is he's only 29 years old and he's dealing with injuries constantly year after year, lingering injuries that take him out for a long period of time. So I don't know if it exactly was the right move in signing AD unless you think he is good enough now to take over the reins of the Lakers now. Because LeBron, once again, turning 39 years old. Now, even at 39 years old, he's still dropping 29 points a game, which is incredible.
He's going to play. He's going to play more than just next year, LeBron James, I think.
Well, he has 2 years left on his contract, this year and next year.
He's going to play those 2 years for sure.
But then the question is he going to play 1 year with Bronny and then say adios to the NBA and adios to his career?
That could be next year, right? If Bronny's going to play this year for USC.
This year for USC, and he's going to draft it in next year's draft.
So he'll play 1 year, and then he'll be there for LeBron's last year of his contract.
But could this mean Anthony Davis signs an extension, LeBron stays with the Lakers, finishes out his contract, then Bronny's sophomore year, that's when they join together?
I don't know.
I know LeBron wants to play with it. LeBron said, outwardly spoken, there's two people that he would want to play with. His son and Steph Curry. I don't see the Warriors drafting Bronny unless they really feel like they can get LeBron James. Yeah. But then again, they would need to pay for LeBron James, which that is a whole. I mean, LeBron signed a 2-year, $99 million extension. I don't know how you could afford all those players, and you're paying Draymond, you're paying Steph, you're paying Clay. You got to pay Kuminga soon. You brought in Chris Paul, who's making a pretty penny. So I don't know. It's just so throwing out there. But I mean, if I had to take a guess. And I think this is a decently bold prediction. I would say that LeBron James plays out his contract with the Lakers, and then in Bronny's sophomore season, that's when they go link up. Because I do think LeBron James at least appreciates them retaining Anthony Davis beyond these next 2 years. So they could finally set it up. So the last 2 years, LeBron James could basically solidify the pieces around for Anthony Davis to be successful.
You think that Bronny James will play 2 years in college?
No.
No, but his freshman year, right?
His freshman year is this year. You only need to play 1 year in the NBA.
Okay, so 1 year. So next year will be LeBron's last
with the Lakers.
Last year with his deal. Yeah. Why wouldn't he play? They try to get him on the Lakers, so they play together on the Lakers. I think that's what they'll.
Because the big question is, though, are you going to draft Bronny just to draft Bronny, or do you think he's actually a valuable asset to a team? And that's what I think a lot of teams are going to need
He's
to wager.
good for the gate. He's good for the gate, right?
That's another thing.
Having
What do you
LeBron and
value?
his son on a team, that's never happened in the NBA, right?
It barely happens in sports.
Yeah.
There's been,
So
one or two
in baseball,
people.
it's happened a
Yeah,
few
you
times.
had Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr. play together. But, like, okay, that's the big thing. What is the franchise going to go just so they can get LeBron James, maybe? Because he outwardly said he wants to play with Bronny? Or do you think he's an actually valuable asset where if LeBron James, let's say...
I've never seen Bronny James play basketball, so I don't know.
Let's say LeBron James only plays that second year of Bronny. Let's say, okay, fine. LeBron James asked to be traded in his last year with the Lakers, which is Bronny's first year in the NBA. Is the team going to draft him just to get LeBron James, or do they think LeBron just plays that last year out, retires, and then Bronny is good enough to continue with? I think that's we got to weigh out your options. Is it just so you could basically hopefully shoot in the dark, you get both Bronny and LeBron, and that's there you win a championship somehow with a 40-year-old LeBron James? Or do you think Bronny's actually that good that could lead a team maybe to a playoff run or maybe to an NBA championship?
I don't know about all that, but I do know that for the marketing and for the
it's massive.
Putting people in the seats,
it's massive.
Having LeBron James playing with his son is a big deal.
Absolutely.
Very big deal.
Absolutely. He's the greatest player of all time.
And I doubt the Lakers are going to have I don't know if Bronny James would be. We'll have to see how he plays at USC. That will be interesting to watch, right?
I mean,
where he'll wind up in the draft. He might be number one.
I saw number 10 to the Knicks, which is interesting.
Really?
I saw a mock about a couple months ago.
He could go number one if the team thought they could get LeBron James to come play with them.
But that goes back.
Right.
Do you really?
Or they think that they
could
get a big player from the Lakers to trade him back to the Lakers. I think that's pretty intriguing.
Maybe you can get Anthony Davis in the.
I doubt you could get him, but you might be able to get one of their better players.
Well, you don't see a Bronny for AD 1-for-1 swap?
No, I don't. I don't think so.
Well, then here's the thing. If a team, let's just say, he plays good enough, because he didn't put up monster numbers in high school. He's not this, all-time recruit. I think I saw he's a 3 or a 4-star recruit. So he's not, top of his draft class.
What position does he play?
I think he plays guard. So let's just say he puts up good numbers, not all-time great numbers, not phenomenal numbers, but he puts up, let's say, 18, 19 points a game, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Let's just say that, just for the sake of this conversation.
That's pretty good.
No, I would say that is pretty good. Let's say a team drafts him number 1 just for LeBron James. Do we think LeBron James is going to play beyond that 1 year with Bronny? Because I don't.
Depends on how well he's doing, if he feels good and he's putting up the numbers or even a little less than what he's been doing recently, then yeah, he'd probably keep playing. Why wouldn't he? Because he might find it fun playing with his son.
What? Hey, if I'm in the NBA, right, and you're all-time greatest player, and I was coming in the NBA, I think it would be pretty fun to play together in the NBA.
Yeah.
But the question is, though, you're going to be 40 years old. I'm 19, 20 years old. Yeah. How much do you have left? How much do you want to put in the grind? You're spending millions of dollars on your body.
Yeah, well,
do you really want to keep this grind going for 3 years, 2 years?
LeBron doesn't have to play that many minutes. They can limit his minutes. He can play 25 minutes a game.
And that's what's fascinating, because generally people at LeBron James's age play 10, 15, 20 minutes at the most. LeBron James is still averaging 35 and a half minutes a game at 38 years old.
The guy's amazing.
It's absolutely incredible. So, and that's the same thing.
He doesn't seem to have lost much, right? He's lost a little, but not much.
He can't give it to you every single quarter of every single game. Like in the playoffs, we saw at the very most a half of really good LeBron James, and within that half, a quarter of, okay, that's prime LeBron, where he was just driving, no one could stop him. He would pull up for a jumper, drain it, like something was going. He can't give it to you for an entire season. Can he give it to you for a week where he's all-time good, pieced out over the season? Yeah, but he's not going to give it to you every single night, every day in and day out. That LeBron James has been gone for a couple years.
I think what you do there is you get his son, they play together, he plays 15, 20 minutes a game during the season. If you got a team that's good enough to make it to the playoffs, then you let him go in the playoffs, and he gets to play. He plays a lot more then.
I think it's interesting.
Something like that. I don't know.
I do think, though, this move with AD, I think if LeBron James will leave after that 1 year, I think LeBron will hopefully set up something or give AD enough confidence to at least say, okay, this is it. You guys stay healthy. We're going to ride this out together. And, then you got to go because I got my son in the wing waiting.
Yeah, well, one thing, Bronny James may not be that good in college. We'll see.
And then
the guy's got
that's
a lot
the big thing.
He's got a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah, your dad's the greatest basketball player of all time.
Yeah.
And you're coming to the league and they expect the same out of you.
His father may tell him, look, you stay in college another year.
I don't know about that. You got to get out there and make that money. Got to make that bag.
LeBron James and his family don't need any money. That's for sure. He's making a fortune, even beyond his basketball salary. Is probably.
I'm pretty sure he's a billionaire already. Yeah, with all of his businesses and endorsements and stuff like that.
He's unbelievably rich. So
yeah. Well, just in the NBA alone, can you guess about how much he's made so far? Just in the NBA, contractual.
Contractually.
Yeah.
$350 million.
434.9.
Wow.
Nearly $435 million just in the NBA.
Not bad.
Yeah, I'd say so. No, not that bad. All right, let's get into our next topic here. So I talked about this, this past Wednesday when the offensive coordinator of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Canales, I believe his name is Dave Canales, for the Tampa Bay Bucs, said that the QB competition between Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask is tightening, and that gave me some pause. And I think that should have gave Bucs fans a lot of pause. Now
Probably scares the hell out of them.
Yeah, I would say so. And now I saw a report over the weekend how in the first 9 practices of the Bucs training camp, Baker Mayfield has thrown 7 interceptions, which is once again I'm sure it's giving Bucs fans way more pause. And Kyle Trask, through the reports from training camp, is having a pretty good training camp, which is I don't know, second round guy, second year in the NFL. And now you're going up against a previous first overall pick. But I want to bring up a soundbite here from one of Baker Mayfield's interviews where he talks about, his journey and how he got to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the pressure that he feels, coming from the Panthers and the Rams now onto the Bucs.
I've been off social for almost 2 years now, so I'm wired different. I don't need anybody on the outside to tell me what I can and can't do. Yeah, I mean, I got hurt in Cleveland. That's why my run ended there. And then last year it was, it was what it was in Carolina. But everything happens for a reason, so I'm here now, and I'm ready to go.
There's the Baker Mayfield I know and love. All right, so I want to know, who do you think should be the Bucs starting quarterback?
Well, he didn't say much about his Panthers stop there, but it was terrible. I mean, he played terrible there, right? They dropped him. He wound up with the Rams, where he did okay. Actually, the game he came in, the first game, he was really quite exciting, and he managed to pull out a win for them, which was pretty cool in a way. Now, you have said in past shows that we've had that Baker Mayfield would never start again in the NFL, which turned out not to be true. He did start for the Rams, right? So my guess is he's going to be the starting quarterback for the Buccaneers on day one. I look at Kyle Trask. He's thrown 9 passes in his 2 years in the NFL, so he has no experience, right? He may be the player of the future, and I would say that if Baker Mayfield starts out like he did for the Panthers, then it's a short leash for him, and he won't be on the field very long, and they will go to Trask and see how he does. I do think the preseason, and particularly before you even get to a preseason game, as Baker Mayfield says, you're trying out different stuff, and interceptions are not that big a deal. But Todd Bowles said, well, turning the ball over is something the quarterbacks aren't supposed to do. Protecting the ball is the number one responsibility, and not turn it over. So that's certainly important to Todd Bowles. So how he views the two and the competition remains to be seen. But Baker Mayfield said he welcomes the competition. He's on, benching him wouldn't be that big a deal. He's on a 1 year, $4 million deal. So it's not like they've invested a ton of money in him. So we'll see what happens. But I think he'll be the starter.
I talked about this on Wednesday, and I decided to look up how bad Baker Mayfield did last year. And by the way, he just sort of threw away that Panthers thing like it didn't even happen. the Panthers were supposed to be.
Obviously, he wants to do that, right?
Yeah. No. Well, first of all, he acknowledged how he got hurt with the Browns, and that's why he got thrown away by the Browns, and they looked at Deshaun Watson instead of keeping him. Do we remember how Baker Mayfield got hurt? That lingering injury, the torn labrum that bothered him throughout the rest of the year? It was he tried to tackle one of the Texans' defensive backs on an interception with his shoulder in I believe it was week 2 in their home opener. He caused his own injury. And that's why he had that lingering labrum injury. He didn't do surgery until very, very late in the year, where he was taken out for the rest of the year. But then they looked at Deshaun Watson and moved off of Baker Mayfield. And then the NFL set it up beautifully. It was Baker Mayfield, the revenge game against the Browns in week 1. And we all know how that game ended. Cade York shot a field goal through the uprights. Baker Mayfield lost game 1. And honestly, he probably should have won that game. And that sort of started a bad streak of Baker Mayfield and how poor he would play. He didn't look very good in that game. The fourth quarter was more impressive than the other 3. But throughout that season, especially with the Panthers, it did not look so hot. So last season, I had this graphic up on Wednesday, but I don't have it anymore. But I'll read it to you here. So out of 33 qualified quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield was 29th in pass yards, 31st in touchdowns, 32nd in completion percentage, on-target percentage was 30th, and his QBR scale 0 to 100 ESPN stat was dead last. AKA, he was a bottom 3 quarterback in basically all of these stats. He was god-awful. So to throw away the Panthers season, it's actually a pretty important season because it kind of showed teams, yeah, you really don't have much in you, especially with a team that doesn't have a tremendous offensive line, that had a really good defense, and at one point had a pretty good wide receiver core with OBJ and Jarvis Landry. And you also had a decent tight end in David Njoku. So Baker Mayfield was not good. And that's why a team like the Rams with Matt Stafford out got desperate. And that's why a Bucs team without Tom Brady got desperate. And that's why you have a starting job. Because if it wasn't for injuries, you wouldn't have started that game with the Rams. And truth be told, honestly, you really wouldn't have a job, at least even have a chance to have a starting job, if Tom Brady was still in the NFL and if Matt Stafford wasn't hurt. You would have been dropped by the Panthers and no team would have picked you up, unless there was injury concerns like the 49ers had. That's why they had 4 quarterbacks on their roster. So to say that, to throw away the Panthers game, that is what it is. And the fact that we're hearing Kyle Trask is having a really good training camp and Baker Mayfield's having interception issues, how is that not giving Buccaneers fans pause? And if a first overall pick like Baker Mayfield loses his job to Kyle Trask, who has not even really sniffed any NFL action, I think Baker Mayfield should at least consider some form of retirement. Some form of retirement. Because if the Bucs without Tom Brady are not going to even, use you, and Kyle Trask is a better quarterback than you, what image does that send to other teams that may need a quarterback?
Well,
you're not good enough to beat out Kyle Trask?
I don't think Baker Mayfield's going to retire. He's not that old, right? How old is he? 27
He's 27. He's turning 28.
28 years old. He hasn't made the kind of money that some of the other big quarterbacks have made, right? And he's only making $4 million this year. So if anybody wants him and they're willing to pay his meal ticket, then I think he'll probably play.
Well, he did the Progressive commercials. He was immediately start of his career. He was in those Progressive commercials.
I think he lost focus by doing some of that
stuff. I guarantee you he did.
Yeah,
he started to get that big ego, and even in college he had a big ego.
Yeah.
So what I would say is, you know what? If Kyle Trask beats you, seriously consider retirement. Because let's go down. Any team that needs a quarterback. Washington, they seem content with Sam Howell, and Ron Rivera said we may even see Jacoby Brissett instead of Sam Howell. The door's open there. The Raiders, Jimmy G's good to go. Now, Jimmy G had a horrible start. We talk about 7 interceptions in 9 practices. He started off 7 interceptions in 2 practices. Not great for Jimmy G in the start of that. Kyler Murray, my guess would be they're probably going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. They may go out and get Caleb Williams. And also, if I'm not mistaken, the Bucs have a win-loss, an over-under win total of 6.5. So if the Bucs, Baker Mayfield said in a more recent interview how they're being doubted, right? You do realize you're the starting quarterback. This team went from having like 11 to 12 wins, over-under win total, to plummeting to half of that because they don't have a quarterback. And what's surprising is when they got Baker Mayfield, I saw an article where it said this offense will actually be better with Baker Mayfield than they had with Tom Brady. Because Tom Brady was more of a restricted quarterback and a pocket passer, not someone like Baker Mayfield who may have legs to him.
That's crazy.
I thought that was ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
Baker Mayfield had more batted balls than anyone in the NFL, and he didn't have a starting job like halfway through the year. And he ended up getting past, about 3/4 through the season. But he held the batted ball streak of being the top of the NFL for a long, long time. So I really think, I don't know. Here's the thing. It should be Baker Mayfield. It should be. He's been a starter in the NFL. He's won a playoff game. He was the first overall pick. And if Kyle Trask, so he should be the starter. The fact that the OC of the Bucs said the quarterback competition is tightening with a second round pick that, my guess would be they didn't have a lot of faith in him, so that's why they got Baker Mayfield instead of, keeping Blaine Gabbert or picking up, any Marcus Mariota, any one of those quarterbacks.
Is Marcus Mariota signed by anybody?
No.
Nobody signed him at all.
The Falcons have Desmond Ridder. They're satisfied with that. We just saw Teddy Bridgewater get picked up as a backup quarterback for the Lions. There's really not a lot of teams that need a quarterback. Really, it would just be a depth piece. But would you really have that type? Like it's sort of like the Cam Newton thing. That type of personality as a backup quarterback, it just wouldn't work well. That's why you had Brian Hoyer or Jarrett Stidham instead of
I would have thought Marcus
Cam
Mariota
Newton
was better than Brian Hoyer, right? As a backup.
He's
younger.
Clearly not. Brian Hoyer instead of Marcus Mariota. Hoyer's old. Hoyer.
No, I don't. Hoyer is old. That's what I'm saying. Marcus Mariota is younger than him.
Okay, gotcha. So
who's he back? Who's Hoyer with? He's with
Jimmy G. He's with the Raiders. Yeah,
with the Raiders. Yeah.
It's the Las Vegas Patriots.
Yeah, probably not paying him much.
Of course not. He's a backup quarterback.
$1 million?
He's still getting jobs. He's still getting paid millions of dollars to not play a single game.
I don't think it's millions.
Well, over his career, he's made millions.
Yeah, over his career, but this year, I bet he's not making much.
Well, he's a 35-year-old backup.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's got in the NFL in 2009.
He got in the game. We got in the game last year, and third play, he got a concussion. He was out the rest of the season.
Yeah, no, it was pretty bad. But I'm saying right now, the Baker Mayfield, his job security. Really, the fact that it's close, apparently.
Just saying that, Nate. Maybe it is close.
The OC is saying, not reporters are saying it based on visuals. The OC who's drawing up plays, who's calling plays, who's making these plays for the quarterback.
Well, maybe Kyle Trask is the second coming of Tom Brady.
I
doubt it.
I highly doubt that. Yeah. So it's not report. It's not Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times saying it. No.
When was he drafted? What round? Kyle Trask. Second round. So must have been pretty good in college, right, to get a second round pick.
Just because he's drafted in the second round, we've seen fourth round picks be we just saw Brock Purdy as Mr. Irrelevant be supposedly the next coming of Tom Brady and Kurt Warner.
Yeah. So
by the way, in college he wasn't terrible. His last year in college was actually pretty good. He went for 4,300 yards, 43 touchdowns, 8 picks with a 68% completion percentage. Not
That's
bad.
Good.
Not bad at all. Just, in the NFL, he wasn't so good that they had a lot of faith in him to be the next, to be that next step from Tom Brady and flow right into it. They got rid of Blaine Gabbert. So, what's the next option? Let's go out and get Baker Mayfield.
What happened to Blaine Gabbert? Where did he wind up?
They dropped him. They felt like honestly.
Where did he go somewhere? Did he wind up with anybody?
No. He's, let's say. No, I don't think he's on a single team. No.
Huh. That's something.
What do you mean? A lot of these backup quarterbacks don't get jobs. They're not good.
Yeah. Well, Blaine Gabbert sat and watched Tom Brady play for 3 years.
So did Kyle Trask.
Yeah.
And Kyle Trask was supposedly going to be the heir apparent to the next great Buccaneers quarterback. At least that's what I'm sure people thought when they drafted him in the second round. Just turned out not to be the case. So, I think Baker Mayfield's job, I don't know. You got to watch out for it. But speaking about security, in a world where online privacy matters more than ever, NordVPN has your back. With its military-grade encryption and lightning-fast servers, you could surf, shop, and stream without a worry. But it's not just about privacy. It's also about freedom. NordVPN allows you to connect to any one of their 5,000 servers across 60 countries. So whether you're a worldwide traveler, a content creator, or just someone who values their digital privacy, NordVPN is a must-tool to have in your online arsenal. And guess what? NordVPN is offering an exclusive deal right now that provides you, my viewers, with top-of-the-line online privacy and safety and security for just 50 cents a day. So why wait? Click the link in the description down below and don't compromise your online safety and freedom. Join the millions of people, including myself, who trust NordVPN with their experience, the internet, and make sure the internet is the way that it should be. Online, safe, and secure. All right, coming up, Jameis Winston had some very nice things to say about brand new Saints quarterback Derek Carr. And could the Brooklyn Nets be the key piece in order to actually get that Heat, Miami Heat, Damian Lillard trade, have that going? We'll break that down right after this.
You have a lot to say. Maybe you've thought, I should start a podcast. Meet Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast ever. It's a powerful mobile app and web tool that lets you record a podcast anywhere and distribute it everywhere. It's great whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out. And it's 100% free. You can record your show straight into Anchor on your phone, iPad, or the web, using any mic you want. Record alone or with friends or co-hosts anywhere in the world. You can add background music and transitions, and your listeners can send you voice messages that you can incorporate right into your next episode. If you want to produce your show using another app, you can upload your own audio directly from web or mobile, and still take advantage of Anchor's totally free podcast hosting. Once your podcast is ready to publish, Anchor can automatically distribute it to every major podcast platform. That includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, so your listeners can hear your show wherever they want. And on the web, you can see detailed analytics about how people are listening. Plus, you'll get a great-looking profile page where anyone can listen to your podcast or subscribe to it. And if you want to ask your audience to support your work, Anchor makes it easy to collect monthly payments from the people who love your podcast and want to see it grow. You really don't need a recording studio, expensive equipment, or a bunch of technical knowledge to deal with a podcast feed. Just get started and join the diverse community of podcasters already on Anchor. We can't wait to hear your podcast.
Introducing video podcasts on Spotify.
Transform your storytelling into a show everyone can watch
Or listen to.
Easily upload your video through Anchor, Spotify's free podcast creation tool.
So whether you're showing off a new recipe,
Interviewing an exclusive guest,
or uncovering the next mystery,
you can now reach a whole new audience with Spotify.
podcasting just became more than audio.
Create with Anchor, watch on Spotify.
Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey, and as always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. Let's get into our next topic here. So, Jameis Winston had some very, very nice comments when speaking about brand new Saints quarterback Derek Carr, and this is what he had to say.
It's been fun, man. Like my favorite thing about him is he's an excellent man of God, man. He's a fun-loving guy, great energy, very easy to talk to. It's just good coming to work every single day, and you know that your quarterback is approachable, and he's just a fun guy. I'm grateful for this opportunity to be the quarterback here, and I know I'm not finished here. It's a privilege to be in the NFL, and anytime you have an opportunity to be a quarterback, especially one of the 32, and I do know that I'm still one of those 32. It's just my role here is to help uplift our one so we can get us the Super Bowl, right? And I love that.
Pretty nice things to say about Derek Carr. I mean, he says a nice guy, good to be around, fun guy. I don't know. So I want to know, you were very vocal last season when Jameis Winston, he got benched after not a tremendous start, but he had some interception issues, but it wasn't terrible. And then the Saints decided to then opt to Andy Dalton for the rest of the season. So I want to know, do you think Jameis Winston has a shot to be a starter once again in the NFL?
Probably not with the Saints. They just spent huge money on Derek Carr being there for 4 more years. So I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, I think they have him for insurance, right? They paid him $8 million, a 1-year deal. He's only 29 years old. He may be, maybe he'll be a Geno Smith type, down the road a couple of years. He may get his chance and shine. I don't know. I think he has the ability. His problem has been the interceptions, right? He turned the ball over too much. And part of it, I think, with the Buccaneers was they had him throwing the long balls all the time, right? And you're going to have some of those picked off for sure. But he did have, I think, over 5,000 yards passing that year. He had 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. So obviously the interceptions, and some of those were bad, I must say. But I think Jameis Winston has talent. I do think he should be given a chance at some point.
Now, I heard, at least before the season started, I was told Jameis Winston is this great quarterback, a top 10 quarterback in the league, coming from what happened when he got hurt with the Saints, his first go-around. And I was told that Jameis Winston's going to have a comeback year, and I said, there's no way. There's no way. And then I was told supposedly he had LASIK eye surgery. And so when he was throwing a bunch of picks with the Bucs and then the game after that, I sort of joked around with that. But hearing that from Jameis Winston, I'm starting to like the guy. Because, I really feel like under the right system, Jameis Winston can be good. Because with Bruce Arians' offense, it was just throw it down. We don't care if you pick it up. We don't care if it gets picked off. Just throw it down. We're going to have a high explosive, long, deep ball offense. And
he can throw the deep ball. There's no doubt about it. The guy's got a strong arm.
That got him 2 4,000-yard seasons and a 5,100-yard season.
Yeah.
But that also came with a lot of turnovers. But that's actually what is common in a Bruce Arians-style offense. That's what happens. Now, when he went to Sean Payton's last year with the Saints, he started off 14 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, which was great, which is absolutely phenomenal for a quarterback that just came off of a year.
His quarterback rating was over 100 under Sean Payton.
Yeah, no, and if he can, I'm not saying obviously this is a thing, but if Jameis Winston just continued a similar pattern, his QBR scale 0 to 100 was 64.4. That would have put him, I believe, number 3 in the entire NFL at QBR. So that would just prove that Jameis Winston, at least in that first year with Sean Payton, under Sean Payton's offense, hey, it was working. And then you bring in, Dennis Allen last year? And now Dennis Allen, we don't know how good of a head coach he'll be. Wasn't great with the Raiders. Now he goes with the Saints. He's re-linking up with Derek Carr. We'll have to wait and see what that offense looks like this year. But the first year that Dennis Allen was the head coach of the Saints, it did not look so good. It didn't look so good.
I don't understand why he had Andy Dalton out there over Jameis Winston. I would have thought that I could see him playing a couple of games. But Andy Dalton played a lot of games for the Saints last year. Why wouldn't you let Jameis Winston play and see? I mean, the guy's younger, and he's shown a lot of promise. And if you could just get him to, make a few better decisions there and not throw so many interceptions, it could be your quarterback. I think the guy still has talent.
I really think Andy Dalton did just enough to retain a starting job because he threw for 66% completion percentage. He had a 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, a passer rating of 95. He wasn't terrible. He was just good enough. And I think, truthfully, with the way Jameis Winston, I think, needs to be coached is with a hard coach like Sean Payton, who knows the offense very well. Dennis Allen's a defensive head coach. Bruce Arians was I would say Bruce Arians' offense is not exactly, the most, well thought out because it is the literal, tagline with his offense is no risk and no biscuit. Get it down the field. Push the ball down the field. It wasn't very meticulous, and we saw Tom Brady try to run that offense the first, 2/3 of the season. High turnovers, games he shouldn't have lost. The defense, couldn't, in case Brady threw 2 interceptions in the game, the defense wasn't good enough, at least, passing defense-wise, to stop teams. We saw Tyreek Hill had 200 yards in the first quarter in Brady's first year with the Bucs. That's ridiculous. And Brady threw a couple interceptions in that game. It was pretty ugly. And then when Brady implemented his style of offense, more motion, more play action, they won 8 straight and won the Super Bowl. Jameis Winston, yes, while he does have a very, very, good arm, I would say, he can throw the ball deep.
He's athletic.
That no risk and no biscuit offense, while it showed how good of an arm he has, he wasn't that meticulous thinker at the line deciphering, who to go to with the deep ball. He was very, very careless. He had 35 turnovers that season where he had 33 touchdowns. It was very, very bad. You bring in Sean Payton, who knows offense. He plays 7 games, 14 touchdowns, 3 picks. He goes 5-2.
You know, I think that if the timing had been a little different with the Broncos and Sean Payton had been hired sooner, then maybe they would have gone after Jameis Winston as the backup to Russell Wilson.
Maybe. Well then, in that case, you would say either Andy Dalton's your starter, and you would trade for Jameis Winston, or the Saints get Derek Carr last year. You would need a lot of things to happen for that. But to get Sean, or actually, you probably no, that wouldn't have worked. But yeah, I mean, really, or Sean Payton didn't need to retire. That's also, he didn't need to step away from football for a year, and then you would have had Jameis Winston as your quarterback this year. Probably a healthy Jameis Winston as your quarterback this year, and probably he would have been your starting quarterback because you just went 5-2 with them. He had 14 touchdowns, 3 picks, which is insane. Passer rating is QBR is 66 or 64, so he did pretty well. So I think on maybe some teams he would be. It really depends. Could maybe the Lions with Ben Johnson as your OC? I mean, I think Jared Goff is a pretty good quarterback. But I'm saying, if he goes to another team, or Eric Bieniemy, if he goes to another team, if he gets picked up as a head coach, could we see a team who doesn't have a solidified quarterback? Could they look at Jameis Winston and say,
he's only on a 1-year deal, so he'll be around next year. He'll be available.
I mean, the Rams with Sean McVay, they were looking to get rid of Matt Stafford. Could they be looking at Jameis Winston? Who knows?
I don't know.
The Vikings with Kirk Cousins, Kevin O'Connell seems like a pretty competent head coach offensively. Could they be looking at a quarterback like that? I think Jameis Winston has enough talent, but it really depends on the system. With a good offensive scheme and a good offensive coach, the turnovers were turned down to 1. They weren't on like 8, 9, or 10 with a defensive coach or just a super casual. I don't care, throw it deep. Whatever the outcome is, the outcome is. Like Bruce Arians. So I really think it depends on the system to make it work. Now, if Russell Wilson has a terrible year, could Sean Payton be looking at his old buddy Jameis Winston and say, "Oh, I went 14-3. We went 5-2 together."
It's going to be tough to do there because
we just went 8-9 with Russell
making
Wilson.
so much money. He's making a ton of money, so he's going to have to play pretty bad in order for them to give up on him.
Well, I think if he has a similar year than this year, we're probably going to see Stidham in there.
Maybe.
Truthfully, I think we could see Stidham. All right, let's get to actually some news topics here. So another version of the Harvey headlines. So let's jump into our first news story of today. So the U.S. women's national team lost to Sweden in the round of 16 yesterday in penalty kicks. The U.S. missed 3 crucial shots, with the last one being from Megan Rapinoe that could have sealed the victory for the United States to move on. This is the first time the United States has not made it into the semifinals. And on that last shot, it actually got saved, but then on the backspin, mere millimeters, that ball fully crossed over the line. Sweden moves on. So I want to know, what's the reaction to the U.S. falling short en route to winning a 3rd straight World Cup, which has never been done in men's or women's before? What's your reaction to the U.S. women's national team and their journey so far?
Well, their offense is clearly, on paper, it looked like they were lacking seriously. They didn't score many goals, but if you watch that game, they had like umpty-ump number of opportunities, and they just couldn't put it in the goal.
Right.
I mean, the goalkeeper for Sweden had a career game, right? That's a career game that she had. She'll never have another game like that. She had 11 saves? A lot of those shots were good shots, and she managed to stop them. So I just think the U.S., they just couldn't get a break. They couldn't. They had no luck in that game. Right. And then Megan Rapinoe, to smile and laugh after she missed that shot, she should have been on the ground crying. I don't understand that. I didn't follow her vibe there. It seemed like the totally opposite of the way she should react. Right? She was smiling. Yeah, I saw missed that. So big deal. I missed it. Well, that could have gotten it for them.
It could have.
Right, and she missed it.
If I'm not mistaken, that shot, if she didn't miss, that would have made. I think that would have been the winning shot. Yeah. I could be wrong, but I think that was to seal the game there. But this is only the second time in the United States women's with the United States women's national team history that the U.S. has been second in their group stage. The group stage was horrible. They scored 4 total goals. I mean, in total, like this is sort of what some teams in other sports do. Try to combine the veteran with the young, and the veterans on that team, they were not good. They did not perform very well. There were 3 young players. I'm forgetting their names now. They showed up. Like the United States women's national team, their younger players, they actually. I'm not saying we go back to rebounding and win another 2 straight. But, there's some promise there, and I think maybe we could see, the coach for the national team. You might want to let him go a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because internationally, he's not shown the same amount of success as he has in past matches. So my guess would be, get rid of the coach. The veteran players, they may retire, and then you got a brand new coach, young core, built up a new team, go into a rebuild, and you'll see if we can come back from this. What I do know, though, is if I needed to pick a team to win this, I'm picking Japan.
Yeah, I think
Japan
so too.
is insane this year.
So they're really
They scored
fun
11
to watch.
goals and give up 0. They haven't given up a goal yet.
Yeah, they're really fun to watch, man. They've got that fast break offense.
Yeah.
They have a lot of open field running, and they get those girls get open, and they take the ball right down there and score. They've got some very good players.
No, they do. All right, let's get into our next topic here. So, former Commanders, Colts, and Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz. Let's bring up the graphics here. He was posted on Instagram throwing all 3 teams' gears: the Eagles helmet, the Commanders jersey, the Colts pants. There he is. That's the next topic. Carson Wentz, is he going to get a job? Will he ever get another? We talk about quarterbacks that could be available. Carson Wentz, he's sort of being a little bit desperate, I would say.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think that I'd go with Marcus Mariota before I'd go with Carson Wentz.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Or maybe even Blaine Gabbert. I might go with him before I go with Carson Wentz. Played terrible for the Commanders. I mean, he's an interesting, had an interesting career, right? He started out with the Eagles. It looked like he was going to be a perennial All-Pro.
He was an MVP candidate.
Yeah, he was an MVP candidate. He got hurt. He tore his ACL. The Eagles won the Super Bowl that year with
Nick Foles.
Nick Foles as the backup. Beat the Patriots, amazingly.
Yeah.
He comes back the next year, not so good, right? And the Eagles struggled to get into the playoffs. Wasn't he hurt again, or did he play? Was he the playoff quarterback? I can't remember. They won 1 game. I think Nick Foles was actually back there again. I think he was. I think he was back there. I think Wentz got hurt again.
2019, when that was the year he came back. No, he was the MVP candidate. Then the following year, he only played 11 games. 2019, they made the playoffs. He threw 4 passes in that game. So if I had to just think, I'm not remembering it. Based on what I'm staring at, he probably got hurt in that game.
No, but Foles played in that game. He was in that game too.
Well, I'm sure because Carson Wentz only threw for 4 passes in the entire playoff game.
So he's out. So then there's still a question about him. Then he comes back the next year, right?
Right.
And he's still with the Eagles? Or did they trade him to the Colts then?
2020, he was still with the Eagles. He played 12 games, went 3-8-1.
Yeah, they were terrible.
They were garbage.
Right? Then they dropped him. He went to the Colts on a pretty good deal.
He actually played pretty well.
Well, he hit
3,500 yards, 27 touchdowns, 7 picks. That's a pretty good year. And then what happened was
he made some key mistakes.
Oh,
right?
and
then the last game, I only had to beat the Jaguars, and he couldn't do that.
In that Urban Meyer screwed up year.
Yeah, they know
what the hell they were doing.
They were terrible, and they couldn't beat them then. Then he went to the Commanders, and he was terrible.
Yeah,
Just
pretty bad.
Terrible.
It's pretty bad.
And they benched him for Heineke.
Then they brought him back.
Then they brought him back, and he was terrible.
Wasn't good.
And then they went to Howell.
And
now they dropped him, and now he's practicing with the uniforms of all the teams he's been on. So
it's a little bit of a desperate move, I think.
He's hopeful to get him back in. He's trying to show people, look at these teams I played for.
Yeah.
Right? So pick me up. But it doesn't look likely.
Here's the thing. The Eagles, okay. The Commanders, you really want to rep the Commanders jersey? I don't think that's a reputable thing saying, I played for this team.
Yeah.
The Colts, they're okay, but still, no, I don't think that's good. Let's get into our last news story here. So, Red Sox manager Alex Cora made some comments on the decision to bench outfielder Alex Verdugo after the August 5th game in a 5-4 loss. This is what he had to say.
We took a step back as a team. We have to make sure everybody's available every single day here for us to get to wherever we're going to go. That wasn't the case, and as a manager, I got to take charge of this, and I decided he wasn't going to play. No, I mean, he's been mature, but today, we took a step back as a team. We have to be available. Everybody has to be available. For us to do this, we have to be available. From coaches to players to analysts to the front office, everybody has to be available every single day here. That's the bottom line. And today, one guy wasn't available.
I mean, supposedly, Alex Verdugo showed up 2 hours before the opening pitch, and then, Cora's like, nope, you're going to get benched today. And then he also said that wasn't part of that soundbite. He could have played that, or they might play him in the next game. He did play in the next game, went 3 for 4, and they got blown out 13-1. So, I don't know. What the hell do you think is going on between Verdugo and Cora here?
Well, if Verdugo didn't show up on time, then that's legit.
Well, he was asked, did you show up on time? Verdugo went, yeah. It's kind of funny because there was a rumor right before the trade deadline that the Red Sox may trade Verdugo.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't get traded, and then something like this comes out. So I don't know.
I don't know what's going on there.
Red Sox are in a bit of a turmoil, maybe.
Yeah, I like Alex Verdugo. I think he's quite a good player, actually. And he doesn't seem like somebody who doesn't hustle. He always hustling out on the field. I think he tries hard, and he's had some key hits this year, had some game-winning hits, played some great defensive plays as well. I don't know why he and the coach are having a problem. So that's unfortunate.
I think this could be, sort of a desperate thing. People's jobs are on the line. Core's job's probably on the line.
Yeah.
Bloom's job's on the line. I don't know. The Red Sox, I think they're starting to get desperate here.
They've been like a sine wave this season. They're terrible, and then they're good, and then they're terrible, and they're good, and they're terrible. Right now, they're on a terrible streak. They lost 5 in a row now.
Yep.
3 at home, 3 straight to the Blue Jays.
Yep.
Now they're playing the Royals. They ought to be. If they can't win those games, then I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. The A's, the Red Sox, if I'm not mistaken, got swept by the A's. They were the worst.
No, they didn't get swept by them.
They won one game.
They won one
game.
Yeah,
they won
2 out of 3.
Right.
They've been terrible in August.
So
put it that way.
So and then here's the thing: the Royals are the second worst team in baseball. We thought because we talked about the Red Sox right before they played the A's. We thought they would sweep them. Do you still feel that the Red Sox could sweep the Royals here? 27 games, or sorry,
so. They're playing
23
them at
games
home.
out of first place in the AL Central.
They play them at home. I think they should. If they really think they're serious contenders to get one of those wild card spots, then they really think, hey, this is important. We got to sweep these guys, right? Because their schedule is pretty tough the rest of the way.
Right.
It's going to be a lot of games against Baltimore, right, and Toronto and Tampa Bay. Right, and those teams are playoff teams. Even the Yankees, right? The Yankees are no slouch. Even though they're in last place right now. I mean, Judge is back. He hasn't found his groove yet, but he probably will before the season's over. The Yankees have pretty good pitching, so I think the Red Sox job is only going to get tougher when these teams that are in the cellar are playing you. You got to win those games, and I don't know. They played poorly ever since the clock turned over to August.
I'll say this, though. Poor. The Red Sox, first, if they want to get a wild card spot, they need to get out of last place. That's the big thing. Judge is back now for the Yankees. Here's the thing. I don't know if you saw the video. Stan's jogging around and gets picked at home. He was doing a jog. Me and you can run faster than Judge, or than stand around the third baseline.
He's been a big disappointment this year.
He has been. And Judge got hurt. They couldn't hit for the life of them. We could probably hit better on the Yankees than they could have.
But he's been very poor this year.
So I mean, the Yankees, once again, disappointments as usual. At least this time. They're not disappointing in the postseason like they generally are. Now they're just disappointing in the regular season. However, I will say this. The AL East is the hardest division in baseball. So the Yankees, as of right now, would almost be number 1 in the AL Central. which is, I guess, the second worst division in baseball. The NL Central being the third worst. They'd be 2 games out from that one spot. The Orioles, though, 70 wins right now. Tied for the most in the MLB.
It's amazing.
Hey, Orioles.
Well, they did it through rebuilding, right?
They have a phenomenal farm system. A phenomenal farm system. So I got to give it to the Orioles. But I do think that will wrap up the news. So let's jump right back into our next topic here. So this is pretty interesting. I saw this today, actually. A rumor saying how the Brooklyn Nets could likely be a key third team to complete the Damian Lillard to the Miami Heat trade. And let's bring up what the trade actually could look like. You saw it a little bit in the news, but this is what it was. So the Heat get Damian Lillard. The Nets get Tyler Hero. That's the big thing right there. Tyler Hero goes somewhere because the Blazers don't want him. The Blazers then receive probably the most amount of assets I've seen in a very long time. So Ben Simmons, the Blazers get him because, I think the Nets just need to get off of Ben Simmons. You get Royce O'Neal, and then you get you get 5 first-round picks. I think 3 of them are from Brooklyn, 2 of them are from Miami. So massive pieces, and I do think, because I talked about how the Heat don't have any assets that the Blazers want because any other team could give them better assets. I'm not saying Ben Simmons is good, but the fact that they're getting, 5 first-round picks, and I would take this trade if I were the Blazers.
I don't think that trade's going to happen.
You don't think so?
No. I mean, the Brooklyn is giving up too much.
You
right?
think?
Go back to that. Right? Aren't they the ones giving up 3 first-round picks?
Yes.
To get Tyler Hero, that's it?
To get Tyler Hero.
They get to dump some salary, I guess. Who is Royce O'Neal? I don't even know who he is.
He's a forward. Forward for the...
I mean, Ben Simmons is somewhat of a head case, so, dumping his salary at $37.5 million is probably not the worst idea. But all that, I think that the Nets are going to want more compensation.
So
right, I don't think they're going to give up. They're going to give up all those first-round picks just to get Tyler Hero.
Well,
right?
I think Tyler Hero would be a good pickup for him.
The Heat would be the big winner here, right?
You think the Heat are the big winner? Just getting Dame?
Yeah, just getting Dame. What are they giving up?
They're going to have 2 first-round picks.
That's it.
Hey,
I mean, that Tyler Hero won't be with them anymore, but
right.
That's they expect that Tyler Hero expected to be traded. He said,
right.
So Tyler Hero's not a bad player. I mean, he's averaged 20 points a game.
Right.
He was the 6th man of the year.
Yeah, he was.
So he's not a bad ball player, but he's not the caliber of Damian Lillard. That's for sure.
I would 100% agree with that.
The Nets, I don't think, are going to give up all of that to get him, to get Tyler Hero.
I'll say this about this trade, right? I think the Blazers don't want guards, and I think that's why they're saying, we don't want Tyler Hero here. Because we already have Anthony Simons, and we already have Shaedon Sharpe. Why do we need another guard? So they won't need Tyler Hero here.
Well, is Royce O'Neal any good?
Royce O'Neal last year, he averaged 8.8 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, was 38 from both the 3 and from the floor. So he could shoot a decent 3-ball. Outside of 3, not so great.
8 minutes a game? How many minutes?
31.
31 minutes a game?
31 minutes a game.
Wow. Yeah, 8 points. He averaged 8 points in
31
minutes.
31 minutes.
They didn't get many shots.
Well, it's for the Nets. The
Nets are okay though. You think they have a very good coach, right? Given all the turmoil that happened to them last year, and he had them in the playoffs, and they played okay in the playoffs. I mean, that's
because was it McCall Bridges went off in one of those games? He couldn't miss from they shooting the lights out of the ball. I think it was the first game. James Harden also couldn't miss from 3. Yeah. I think
would you do that deal if you were the Nets, Nate? Look at all those first round picks.
If I was the Nets,
Nets can build their team through those draft picks.
Really?
Some of them are kind of late in the game there. 2029's a ways off. Right?
Here's the thing. If I was offered
Miami, if they pull that deal off, Miami should take that in a heartbeat, right? They give up 2 first-round picks, 1 in 27 and 1 in 29. That's way off. We're only in 2023 right now.
Right.
Right?
Well, it would be the 2024 draft. So it would be not this year's draft, the next year's draft. I mean, truthfully, I would take it. Because when I'm looking at...
the Blazers are going to put that up there one more time. The Blazers are going to be happy not getting their first-round pick until 2025. Then the rest of them are 27 and 29. Well, that's a long way off.
Well, I mean, they also have their own picks as well. They're
Yeah,
not
but
giving
still.
up a single pick.
Well, maybe you look
You're
at those picks.
you're adding on assets.
Maybe they
here.
can. Maybe they'll trade those picks to somebody else. I don't know. But that's a long time to wait for all those picks.
Well, I mean, you also have. It's not.
I don't think that.
It's not like
deal's
you're
gonna-
not drafting till
I
2025.
don't think that deal's going to get done.
Well, I'm saying no. This wasn't offered. That this was a trade that I saw that could go through.
Yeah.
But I mean, first of all, I want to make this clear: the Blazers don't have a pick until 2025. They have their own draft picks. It's not like they're not drafting next year. They can draft whoever they want next year. They're just adding on more assets. You get 5 first-round picks and 1 decent center, or decent forward, I guess I should say. And then Ben Simmons would just be the piece the Nets got to get rid of, because Ben Simmons is literally unplayable. And you would have to go. I mean, for me personally, I would do this because you don't need guards. You need big men. And you're getting 2 big men. Now, actually, what I would do is, I don't have the trade. I did a Raptors trade not too long ago. That would have been one. You get like you get Gary Trent. That's basically the guard replacement for Dame, even though you do have Simons. And you also have, I just said his name, Shaden Sharp. You get Otto Porter. You get Boucher. I'm missing the other. You get 2 other forwards. I'm forgetting them. I'm sure I could bring them up right now. I would have done that trade. You only get 2 first-round picks, though, instead. And you get 5 first-round picks here. So I would have actually, if the Raptors offered that trade up, I would have taken that one, give the Raptors Dame.
Yeah.
Because honestly, that may get done. Because nothing is.
Lillard won't be happy then.
What do you mean? Lillard goes to the Heat. He'll be perfectly fine.
I thought who?
Are you talking about the Raptors trade or
Yeah, the
or that
Raptors
trade?
The Raptors trade.
You know, I mean, well, here's the thing: Lillard needs to be happy. He can't be disgruntled. The NBA will take action against that. That's what they came out and said. That if his agent Aaron Goodwin or Dame come out and say either I only want to play for the Heat, or I won't put in all the effort I will, or obey my contract if I get traded to a team other than the Heat, the NBA is going to take action, and rightfully so. You can't just pick and choose. That's not how the NBA works. There's GMs, there's owners, there's contracts you sign. And also, if Dame was really unhappy with the Blazers never forming a championship team to his liking, should have signed a 4-year extension. You signed a 4-year extension, you either got to honor it, or
I'm sure
you got to let the
to
team
get him to
take the
do
course.
that. They probably told him, "Look, we're going to bring in the players. We're going to have a championship team here," and they didn't get it done.
Well, I mean, truthfully, Dame also didn't request the trade until after the draft. That's the thing. I assume they were hoping that they would draft, other pieces around him, at least big men. Because the problem with the Blazers was they didn't have a lot of big men. So, I'm sorry, Shaden Sharp would have been the. I'm going to bring it up here real quick. Hopefully, I can get it. But I think Shaden Sharp is on the Raptors, and that would have been part of that deal. So it's let's see, am I right with that? Oh, so the trade with the Raptors would have been Thaddeus Young, it would have been Gary Trent, it would have been Scotty Barnes, and it would have been Otto Porter Jr. and Chris Boucher. That would have been the 5.
5 players.
5 players and 2 picks.
Yeah, well,
I would have taken
think
that.
That's a better option than what the Nets would offer.
Well, it depends on what route you want to go. If you want to go still contending now, I'd go with that trade. Or I would go with the Raptors trade. If you want to go build for the future with a young team, hell yeah, I would take that trade we just showed. Because then you're going to get young assets.
How good are the first-round picks from Miami going to be? They're probably going to be up there in the maybe by 2029 they'll be terrible. I don't know.
Well, I mean, first of all, we know Dame is going to
maybe.
end his career soon. He's not going to be out here for 5-6 years. I mean,
probably 3 years.
I mean, if he wants all that money, he's probably going to play all 4.
Yeah.
Truthfully, but I mean, what I'm taking a look at here, I mean, I still believe the Blazers should not bite just because Dame's going to be disgruntled. Because guess what? It's not the Blazers'
They got
problem.
the backup of the NBA now.
They do, but as soon they could trade him to whatever team they want to. It's not the Blazers' problem whether or not Dame commits to the team or not. You think who did I'm trying to think about who did Kyrie play for before he went to the Nets? Was it the Celtics?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that the Celtics desperately cared if what Kyrie was doing off the court with the Nets, or how the Nets were imploding right in front of their eyes? I'm sure they cared when Kyrie said he wanted to stay with the team, and if the Celtics wanted him, he'd re-sign with them, and then he just ditches them for Brooklyn to team up with KD and James Harden. I'm sure that's what hurt him. But I guarantee you, the Celtics didn't care that Kyrie Irving was taking personal time off, not telling the team, or doing whatever he was doing off the court, and just being absent, and then ultimately imploding that Nets team. The Celtics didn't care. So why should the Blazers care if Dame goes to another team and all the reports are he's upset, he's not putting in all the effort or whatever the case may be?
They probably would.
The Blazers, if I'm the Blazers, I don't care. If someone presents me a good offer that I'm looking for, which reportedly is 2 quality players and 4 first-round picks, I'm taking that regardless of the team. It could be the Knicks, could be the Celtics. If this is not going to happen. If the Hornets offered LaMelo Ball for Damian Lillard and a couple other pieces, I would take it. Now, once again, the Hornets are not going to give up LaMelo Ball. I'm just saying if that were the case.
Yeah.
I saw a trade out here that we were originally going to talk about, but turned out not being. If the Bucks offered Drew Holiday and Bobby Portis, along with I think 2 or 3 first-round picks, I would take it.
I think that's a better. That's a better deal than the Nets are offering.
Well, it'd be the Nets and the Heat, but mainly the Nets. So if any team, and the fact that the NBA is saying now that, you know, if Aaron Gordon comes out and says things like what has been said in the past, where he only wants to play for the Heat, he'd be upset if he gets traded to any other team but the Heat. And, you know, I think other teams should be like, okay, we could be in the sweepstakes now because based on what the NBA is saying, based on the action the NBA may take if Dame either doesn't play to the fullest extent he should based on his contract, or is just not committed to being a part of the team, the NBA would take action. I would be, hey, yo, let me get into this Damian Lillard sweepstakes, not let the Heat just basically have a monopoly over Damian Lillard. Let me get in here, see if I can pick him up and add him to whatever team I can. Because if the Bucks do that offer, you would have a big 3 that may be the best big 3 in the NBA right now with Giannis, Dame, and Chris Middleton. And if you want to add Brook Lopez to that, he's an efficient piece who could shoot the 3 ball.
Brook Lopez hasn't signed with anybody yet?
No, he has. We broke it down with the I think we saw Chris Middleton and that day before. Yeah, no.
Oh, he went back to the.
He went back. Yeah,
I think that's smart on Milwaukee's part to get him back.
Yeah, no, he's a good piece for him. He shot nearly 38% from 3 last season. So if you want to add it's not a big 4, but if you want to say, you know, that's a really, really good 4-piece.
Portis is still with them too?
Portis is still with them?
So they're going to have the same team, basically.
Yeah, they're basically going to have the same team, which is an old team as well. So you got to think about that.
Well, they have a new coach.
That is true, and Giannis may be 1 foot out the door, supposedly, if, you know, the Bucks don't perform very well. I could see Giannis being like, hey, yo. I mean, think about it. Kareem wanted out. Kareem got out. So could Giannis do the same thing? He already won a championship. He's won MVPs. So, I mean, what else does he need to do with it? He did his job. He gave Milwaukee a championship. Now he wants to go out and, you know, stay succeeding. Chris Middleton may retire soon. Drew Holiday already said he has a set date for his retirement. Brook Lopez is aging. Bobby Portis, he's all right, not great.
They're going to try hard to win it this year.
I guarantee you they will. And
that's why they put that team back together.
My guess would be...
They think it was the coaching.
My guess would be they'll probably be in the top 3 of the Eastern Conference again.
I agree.
And I think the Celtics will be right there with them. And the question is, who's that third piece? Is that third piece going to be the Heat?
Will be the Heat. They get Lillard.
Is that third piece going to be the 76ers? Could the Knicks make it to that third spot?
Maybe. The Knicks might be able to.
These are all questions, but I think that trade, it really depends. That trade will go through depending on what the Blazers are looking for. If they're looking for a lot of draft capital, that's the trade. If they're looking for pieces to still be at least somewhat competitive, I think if the Blazers offered that trade package, they would go for that. It's based on what they're looking for. Now, right now, the GM for the Blazers says we may not even trade him at all. It may take months for us to decide to finally trade him. Yeah. And that's a whole nother situation.
That's all talk. I don't know.
You
think that they're just trying to build
Cronin's
up
playing hard to get?
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe. But then again, you know, we could go the ideology of he signed 4 years here. He signed an extension here. He should be able to play with us contractually. He needs to play for us. Now we can go to the whole argument of he's been there for 9 years, however long. I think it's 9 years. He made it to like the conference finals one time or something like that. You know, he did a lot for this organization or whatever the case may be. He crapped all over the fact that this ring chasing culture is what the NBA is now, and he feels like he doesn't know how long he doesn't want to play long in the NBA because of this ring chasing culture. And now look at him. He wants to join the ring chasing culture because the Heat just made the NBA Finals, and it's the only team he wants to go to. Now, originally, it was reported that the Nets and the Heat were basically neck and neck to get Dame as the preferred favorites. Because I think Dame likes Bridges, who's on the Nets right now. So that was a good piece. And also Dame likes Bam Adebayo. So that was the reason why they were two. And then all of a sudden, the Heat just became the number 1 favorite. And the rest of the teams were basically told to screw off by Aaron Goodwin. So I don't know if a team will. I think other teams should jump in on this because, you know, the NBA has your back.
Yeah.
You know, you can give up better assets. The Blazers, you'll get Dame. The Blazers will be more interested in your offer. But I don't know. It'll really come down to whether or not teams either call Dame and Aaron Goodwin's bluff and give the offer that maybe the Blazers are more interested in, or if they're just going to sit back and say, you own this monopoly tree, go for it, take them away. Which then, you know, the Blazers may end up keeping them if they don't like any of the Heat's trade. I think the Heat have offered 2 trade packages. Both the Blazers have turned down. Yeah. So, I mean, what are you going to do?
You need the third team.
You need that third team. The question is another team going to jump on it?
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
We'll have to see. All right, that'll wrap it up for today's episode of The Harvey Hour. Thank you all for joining us again. Again, you're going to get 50 cents a day, NordVPN. Keep your internet secure. And also NordPass as well, NordLocker. Everything's down in the description down below. Protect your online security with that deal. Exclusive deal up to 63% off. Like I said, 50 cents a day for NordVPN. I mean, I use it. It's a beautiful service. 5,000 servers, 60 countries. You can get access stuff in different countries. The UK, special shows in the UK. If you're in China, you can use it in the United States. Give it all those blocked websites that China blocks. I mean, it's a really, really good service. Please use it down below. Help support the channel. But for this episode of The Harvey Hour, my name is Nathan Harvey. That's my dad, Stephen Harvey. We are The Harvey Hour. Catch me Wednesday. Catch us Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube.
Hi, Grandpa.
Introducing video podcasts on Spotify.
Transform your storytelling into a show everyone can watch
Or listen to.
Easily upload your video through Anchor, Spotify's free podcast creation tool.
So whether you're showing off a new recipe,
Interviewing an exclusive guest,
or uncovering the next mystery,
you can now reach a whole new audience with Spotify.
podcasting just became more than audio.
Create with Anchor, watch on Spotify.